Anytime you summit any big mountain, you feel larger than life. You feel like you could move mountains. It's a feeling that's hard to explain. How do you describe love? It's one of those things, you just feel it. And that's kind of mountain climbing when you're standing on those mountains, is just a feeling like no other. How Everest became a dream to work towards was in 6th grade. We had a project we had to do, and we had to pick a mountain range. I picked Mount Everest. I asked my geography teacher, do people climb this mountain? And he said, yes, men do, but women would never be strong enough to climb Mount Everest. In the class, I said that I will be the first woman to summit Mount Everest. Now this is in 1971. As it turned out, in 1973, the first female did summit Mount Everest, which was great, but I remember being teased a lot. And walking down the halls, the kids would say, oh, here comes Miss Mount Everest. She thinks she's going to summit Everest someday. And I never lost sight of it. We were supposed to go back home in the summers, Christmas breaks and stuff like that, and be training for our swimming. Well, myself and a couple of my friends, we saved all of our per diem money, and we went up mountains with it. So if my old swim coaches hear this, I'm sorry. I wasn't training. I was climbing mountains, and I was able to climb 5 of the tallest mountains in the world on each continent in the 80s. My daughter was born in 1991, and I completely stopped mountain climbing. I think 1989 was the last time I climbed a mountain, and I stopped because of the inherent risks. Every year, someone dies on Everest. Every year. And there's nothing that says it wouldn't be me. But I also knew that in high school, when she was starting to get ready to go off to college, I started thinking about my Everest dream. And Everest was back on the TV every year, and I had friends going up, and I started just slowly getting the bug again. So then I said, well, let me just try. Let me go back to mountaineering school first and see if I even have it. In 2011, I was on Everest. It was not a successful year for me. What I didn't realize is on the trek-in Namche, I had a Swedish climber fall on me. So it started with fractures. I didn't know I had fractures at the time. I knew that I was hurt. I didn't know exactly what was going on, so I continued with my climb, though I had trouble even holding my ice axe in my right hand. I kept thinking, I'm just mentally weak. I'm trying to find a reason to go home. Right? It's easy. On Everest, trust me, it's easy. You can find a reason in 2 seconds flat as to why you're ready to go home. So I kept saying, no, you're going to stay, you're going to stay. So I continued, and then finally, on my summit day, I got 147 feet from the summit. I couldn't move anymore. My Sherpa said, your stomach's shut down. You're dying. He said, we'll get you to the summit. We'll get you where you need to be, but you're not going to go home. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not going to go home? He goes, your eternal resting place will be Everest. I thought about it. I'm like thinking, he can't be right. It's right here. The next 2 hours, I went 7 feet. And that's when I realized this is ridiculous, this is stupid, what am I trying to prove? I'm gonna freeze to death before I ever even get to the summit. So I turned around and went back down.
I think it probably was harder for her to turn around in 2011 than it was for her to actually go back in 2012, just being an athlete and being persevering as hard as she does. I think the harder part, the more surprising part was when she did, have to turn around, and the fact that she was smart enough to be able to turn around. So I knew in 2012 she was going to go back up, she was going to make it, she was going to come back.
There's a place 35 miles out where you can turn around and you can see Everest for one last chance. I looked at it and I said, Lady Everest, I'll be back. I said, I'm going to beat you. One of the things about Mount Everest is, until you're on the summit, you're not on the summit. And don't start celebrating, don't get excited until you are standing up there. That's one thing I learned about that mountain. It's an absolutely beautiful mountain. It's gorgeous. You can learn a lot about yourself on that mountain and a lot about others, but that mountain will also chew you up in a heartbeat, and it's harsh. It's a harsh environment at the same time, but I enjoy it. I like the challenge. It was devastating in 2011. It was just a bad year for me. I had to go back to the drawing board. I had to change how I trained. I had to change my nutrition around some. There's a lot of gastro problems. It's the #1 problem on Everest. Is at base camp it's not too bad, but as you go higher on the mountain, your body is less able to adapt to the food intake, and especially at Camp 4, you have no appetite, but you know you got to eat. Drinking my UCAN was a big factor in giving me that extra push. When I watched climbers getting sick, I watched climbers not being able to keep food down. The second part, which to me was just as important as the first, is when you're that high up on a mountain and you're starting to feel everything's caving in on you, and the pressure and just the stress of being that high up, and you don't know if you're going to be able to do this. You can't. You know, it's 30 below, and for all you know, you're in 15, 20 mile an hour winds. It could be 60 below with all of that. You can't pull out a picture of your family to refuel you, energize you. I would pull out my UCAN product, because when I would drink it, it felt like home. Whether you're at sea level or you're 29,000 feet above sea level, your body can only go so far. What's going to take you the rest of the way is how you've trained this and your faith. Sometimes you've got to push beyond, and when I got to that 28,888 and I saw it on my watch, I just went through that part of the mountain because I was almost there. I went through it very quickly just to get me past, in my mind, that 28,888. And this time around, I don't know what went right, other than my eyes were fixed, I was focused. When I got to the summit of Everest, I was trying not to cry because I knew my tears would freeze. And I remember looking up thinking, until I get there, hopefully, this is the closest I will ever be to heaven. Because of what happened the year before, I would say I could not unequivocally say I have this 100% until I stood up there, and then I was like this. Like, I can't believe it. I'm here, it's real. Finally, we did it. For me, climbing Mount Everest truly was a reach. It was so far out of realm of reality. If anything, I just want other girls and other women to realize that you can do whatever you want. Set your goals. Have your big dreams, set your goals and all your stepping stones along the way, and sometimes you reach them, sometimes you don't. There's many things I've tried in life that I have not succeeded on. I don't look at them as failures. I tried. Didn't work out, didn't go my way. It wasn't what I expected. I ended up not liking it, but I tried. And those that are passions, a passion. If you have a passion, don't ever lose sight of it.